Hello friends, and welcome to another East German military stuff video. I'm already gonna apologize about the camera view here, like I have two separate jackets here, so trying to fit them in the view is a bit tricky, but yeah, this time I have for you here an East German Strichtarn field uniform from late 1980s or late 1980s cut, and then we have an Strichtarn uniform in the UTV cut, which is also from late 1980s, but yeah. If you're into East German stuff, military stuff, then you are probably aware of the UTV system or cut of uniforms or equipment or so on. And you might also know that the UTV is quite a mystery among collectors, since there's very little documentation available about how it was developed, or if it was adopted, or really anything. Even the name is a bit of a mystery, like what it stands for. There are two different suggestions I have seen online. One is Uniform Trageversuchs, and the other one is Universal Tragevorrichtung. And yeah, I have seen both of those being used, and I'm not completely certain myself which is the correct one, or does anyone actually know what is the correct one. Overall, there is very little official documentation about UTV available, so yeah, most of the information is just basically what we can ascertain from the items themselves. There are just a few pictures where this UTV uniform is in use, and those are mostly from some exercises just before DDR fell, where there were some East German observers in a military exercise, and they have been issued these UTV uniforms. And then there are some pictures where singular pieces of UTV gear are in use. For example, I've seen pictures of the field bottle, for example, in use, but it seems that the UTV gear as a whole was not issued, at least the whole set was not issued before DDR ceased to exist. And yeah, UTV items started to be produced in around 1985, and it continued until early 1990, and then, that's when DDR started to use the same uniforms as the West German military. So yeah, UTV gear itself, it's pretty easy to distinguish because it has this pull toggles here, which are copied from the British 1958 pattern field equipment. Of course, the materials here are different. I think the British gear is made from cotton, but yeah, this is the usual DDR stuff. And yeah, the belt system is also based on based on pattern 1958. I suppose the East Germans in the late 80s finally came to the realization that this gear that was still based on what 19th century designs was getting a bit outdated for modern warfare. So yeah, just before DDR came to an end, they decided to try to create something new, some new gear, but yeah, it came too late. Anyway, if you order Strichtarn uniforms online, usually you cannot really get to choose which specific cut you're gonna get or whatever. It's just you order some. Usually you get to pick the size, and then you get sent whatever the vendor has available. At least that's how it usually is in German eBay, for example. So I thought we'd compare the late 1980s cut and the UTV cut. How can you tell them apart? Well, the jackets here are pretty easy, but the trousers are a bit more tricky, but yep. Well, the most obvious thing, of course, is the pouches here. So in the 1980s jacket here, which actually is, you can get the stamp here, visible. See it here. It's NVA G44, so middle length and very skinny person. And then we have factory code 1802, which is Burger Bekleidungswerke. And I think this is one of the common ones, though yeah, there are a couple of different codes which you can see on these uniforms. And then we have 1N, so the 1 is the quarter of the year, so first quarter of the year, so January to March, I would presume. And then we have N, which is the year code, and in this case it's 1989. And yeah, this stamp here is actually on the pistol pouch here, like you have this pistol pouch here on the chest, just like underneath the left chest pocket. And yeah, as you will see, this Makarov pistol pouch will be absent from the UTV uniform. But yeah, this was, even though this is like the earlier cut of uniform compared to the UTV, this was still produced very late on, so still in 1989. And if we look at the UTV uniform, the stamp is quite faint here, unfortunately, because I think I've actually washed this jacket once. But yeah, we have NVA 1850, which is also Burger Bekleidungswerke, but like a different location in that same factory. I presume it's quite a big factory, but both of these codes, the 1802 and 1850, are Burger Bekleidungswerke. But yeah, we have also 1N in here, so first quarter of 1989, so these jackets were produced very close to each other in timing and, well, place too. But yeah, I don't know why they would produce two different cuts of uniform in such a small time frame, but they did. But yeah, of course, in the late 1980s cut, or 1980s cut more like, I should say, it's not really late, because this came, I think this cut came in already in late 1970s, but then the materials changed in 1980s because they started to use this cheap nylon fabric, for example, for the pouches, pockets, I mean. But anyway, of course, in this cut you still have the attachments for the shoulder boards, which is quite an archaic feature. The chest pockets are slanted, so it's a bit angled like this. And yeah, you have these hand warming pockets here, which I actually kind of like as a feature. Like these are, yeah, when it's a bit cold and you don't have time to get your gloves, or well, your gloves aren't thick enough, you can put your hands in here and warm them, and it's just like kind of more convenient to like just store something quickly. And yeah, you have this string here to tighten the jacket, but this was retained in the UTV version. And of course, another archaic feature is this collar liner, which seems a bit pointless to me in a cotton uniform, but well, they didn't get rid of it in the UTV uniform, it's still here. And yeah, getting to the UTV uniform, we have these square-shaped pockets, which are either based on the Soviet Afghanka uniform or the US BDU uniform, according to, well, various people on the internet. Well, I don't have either example. I don't have a BDU or an Afghanka uniform example, but yeah, both of those cuts of uniform have these similar square pockets, and it would seem that the East Germans based their UTV design on one of those. To me, it would seem more logical that would be the Afghanka, since, well, the East Germans could just probably ask, for example, for an example from the Soviets and receive one. But getting a BD uniform might be a bit more tricky, since UTV was designed in in mid 1980s, so at that point it was still like the relations between East and West were quite cold still. But anyway, yeah, no pistol pouch here on the inside, and no shoulder ports at this point anymore, because with the UTV gear they finally designed a new, well, load-bearing equipment system with the new shoulder straps, which were much wider and cushioned, and so yeah, it would completely like squish the shoulder boards if they were still here. I mean, the shoulder strap was again based on a British pattern 1958, so it's quite wide and thick. And so instead of the shoulder boards, the rank insignia would be worn on this loop on the left arm. And yeah, it's just like closes in the middle here with a button. And the rank badges look like this, so yeah, you would supposed to like just snuggle this in here somehow and then hide the button in here inside. It's actually a bit tricky to get there, but well, I guess, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's more practical in that, let's say you are a shorter soldier and your superior officer is a tall person, then you can at least now see the rank of the person, because like if they are wearing soldier boots where they are here and you cannot probably even see it from the front, but yeah, at least in this way you can see the rank of the person more easily. Yeah. Getting back to these pockets here, I forgot that unlike with the 1980s cut, these pockets are like inside here, so it's like flailing in here, and you cannot see anything soon on here. On the UTV uniform, the pocket is here, like on the exterior, so yeah. And nothing on the inside, so yeah, it's been sewn onto the main fabric here. One little thing is that the angle of this top button here is a bit less steep on the UTV uniform, so I don't know if that was just like production error or conscious choice, but yeah, really nitpicky here. The arm pockets are still the same, so the pocket itself is sewn inside the sleeve and not on the exterior. So yeah, jackets are pretty easy to tell apart if you get these square pockets. You have especially this waist pocket with the square thing, like you can easily tell it's an UTV uniform. But yeah, let's look at the trousers now. They are a bit more tricky. So here we have the trousers, and again the 1980s cut here on the left and UTV on the right. And not much has changed between these, but you can tell them apart if you look closer. This pair of 1980s cut trousers are actually worn and the stamp has faded completely, but you can tell they are 1980s cut because they have this cheap nylon material for the pockets. If you want to see like what the earlier version of Strichtarn uniform looked, 70s cut, you can check my previous video, but yeah, you have these gray buttons and two here and one here, which you can tell the 1980s cut from. For example, the earlier ones had more buttons and they were different buttons. But yeah, the thing that you can tell the 1980s cut and UTV trousers from each other is the leg pockets here. So again, as with the jacket in this 1980s cut, the pouch is sewn inside the sleeve of the fabric, so it's not on the exterior. The pouch is on the inside, and yeah, so here on the UTV it is sewn on the exterior, so it is visible like this, so you can bring it up and see that it actually is folding up, and on the front it's been sewn shut, but yeah, here it's comes on like this, and yeah, the pouch is on the exterior of the fabric. So that is basically the only difference I have been able to find between these two cuts. So yeah, that's the only real difference. One, well, I could show you the code from this. So it is the same as with the jacket. So NVA 1850 1N, so Bekleidungswerke, and first quarter of 1989. So interesting thing about this pair of trousers is that the pattern is very, very brown. So I guess they had just when they printed the fabric, there were some like differences in the colors or something like that. Amusingly, if you look, this thong around the button, like, actually is different color fabric. So yeah, well, I guess they didn't throw away anything. And yeah, here's the UTV jacket. So I mean, this jacket has, yeah, it's been washed once, but yeah, you can still see that the color is quite different. So the trousers are very brown and the jacket is quite olive color. So yeah, even though these were produced in the same factory in the same quarter of the year, but oh well, socialist quality here. Anyway, I hope this video was useful for you for telling apart the different cuts. So if you want to put up like a reenactment uniform loadout or mannequin or whatever, so you can, well, jackets are, yeah, they are easy to tell apart, but now you can also tell the trousers apart. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button. It always gives me more motivation to make more videos when I see that people are actually interested in this stuff. And leave a like and a comment, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.